Previously on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror.
口の中まで入ってきたのよ。あなたもなの？シュイ。
Yo. Hello, it is Sankoku. I'm bringing you another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror Lives Again. Abbreviated edition. Tonight is episode 23, and we are doing a review, keeping up with the Tomie series, The Girl Who Will Not Die, on the series that will not die, on the YouTuber who will not die. Watch I Die Tomorrow. Tomie, and the final chapter, Tomie Forbidden Fruit. Though they call it the final chapter, but then there was like 4 more after that. Beginning, Tomie vs. Tomie, Revenge, Tomie vs. Tomie Unlimited. Yeah, so 4 more. Anyways, this is number 5. So it's kind of like Friday the 13th in a way, because they had the final chapter. Of course, that was their 4th one, I think. And so, you're right. Tomie is the Friday the 13th of Japan. Anyways, let's get on to it. Forbidden Fruit. This movie basically is starts out with these guys going to an apartment, investigating whether their friend was still around, because I guess he's been missing for a while. They go in and they find his body. He's hung himself, and there's blood and the sounds of Tomie laughing. And fast forward to the future, we have a girl named Tomie, who's not the same Tomie, but she's kind of a shy, glasses-wearing girl, and she's picked on by these other popular, more attractive girls. And, so she escapes into the world of fantasy. She wants to become a writer, and so she comes up with these fantastical places, to escape. And she runs into the real Tomie. And Tomie becomes friends with her, and they kind of have, get this sort of relationship where the fake Tomie, I guess is what you would say, falls in love with her and wants to be with her forever. And so this sort of thing doesn't really fall into the normal MO of Tomie until we find out that the fake Tomie, the younger one, I guess the non-immortal one, father, was the guy who found his friend's body hung. And apparently he liked Tomie, and Tomie knew of him 25 years ago. Yes. Of course, since then, he got married and had a daughter. The wife has passed away, and Tomie is a little bit upset that, he moved on when, she, could have been saved by him or whatever. So there you go. There's the modus operandi. She was basically using the kid to get to the father so that she could screw around with his mind, because that's what Tomie does. And so we kind of have this weird little love triangle thing going on. And Tomie basically says, hey, you know what? We want to start over. We have to get you back to where you used to be. And that was without a daughter. And so, yes, Tomie wants the father, Kazu, I believe his name. Tomie wants Kazu to kill Tomie. Well, Kazu does kill Tomie, except not the Tomie that Tomie wants. Am I confusing you yet? Well, possibly. Anyways, so the immortal Tomie wants Kazu to kill his daughter so that they can have their life. And of course, he's struggling with the decision and finally decides to kill Tomie, except immortal Tomie, because he realizes that she's a monster. I mean, you know, what could you tell? For 25 years, she still looks the same. Well, of course, he kills her and chops her up into pieces and throws her into the river. The other Tomie, not even knowing that, you know, she was being used all this time and was going to be killed, finds out and runs and finds her head and tries to nurse her back to health, and they even abscond to Tokyo to live their lives. But of course, Tomie, being the bitch that she is, totally stops respecting her, asks her for expensive, lavish gifts, and, you know, freaking A, she's poor as heck, and complains when she gives, you know, when she gives her what she gives her, you know? And so, younger, or non-immortal Tomie decides that they would kill each other, you know, to be, you know, lovers, suicide, whatever. And of course then, you know, immortal Tomie just saying, like, bullshit, you suck, I hated you all this time, whatever. And of course that pissed her off, and so she throws her, basically throws her overboard, or off the top of a building. And of course, you know, that doesn't kill her, and she's going to come back, and she's going to come back to screw with both Tomie and Kazu. So there's basically the plot. I'm not going to tell you all the way through the end, but that's basically the plot of this movie. So let's get to the scores, because yeah, that's where it all is. Violence and Gore, 2 out of 5. There's, you know, you get a good head chop, some what was it, like crossbow action. You got some baseball battage, and, you know, and some blood, especially with the old chopper to pieces, and we've got an icing, a real icing happens in this one. Yeah, it's below average amount, but, you know, I give it some points for some blood and some interesting, you know, gore effects. But honestly, below average, 2 out of 5. Shock value, 1 out of 5. There was a little bit here that kind of went, whoa, but really not a lot. So 1 out of 5. Plot, here's the thing. It's 2.5 out of 5. The plot's straightforward, which, you know, is something that's nice in a Japanese craze fest. But it's just, it's severely lacking. Like, is it a horror movie? I don't know. I mean, the violence that is there, but I mean, it's not really. It's the problem with the plot is it doesn't create as much of a creepy atmosphere as the other movies. Even the second one had a bit more creep factor to it, and I think it's the problems with the plot is just it's more like an after-school special love story with a little side note about bullying, you know, and it's like, it just doesn't seem to, like, really click. And plus there's, you know, there's a part where they could have ended it about a couple times, and that would have been, like, a better ending, per se, but because they continued on, it kind of ruined it, and there was, like, these moments where you're just like, oh, wow, this could be the end, and, you know, this would actually be a neat little wrap-up, but it just kept, you know, going on, and some of the things then don't make sense because they're like the emotion switch. And I know, you know, Tomie is supposed to have this power, but I mean, it's like, come on, seriously, you're asking too much for me to, like, you know, go like their emotional state just 180s like that, you know. I mean, first he wants to kill her, to kill Tomie to protect his daughter, and then he's like, oh, kill my daughter to protect Tomie. It's like, whatever. Anyways, so 2.5 out of 5. It's straightforward, but it has its problems. Acting, 2.5 out of 5. Some of the acting is, but for the most part, it's decent, passable, and average. I was doing 2.5 out of 5. Nudity, 0 out of 5. Yeah, I know we got the lesbian sort of ness going on, and thought maybe there's some hot girl-on-girl action going, but then again, you know, high schoolers, so you really can't quite do that. Well, I mean, it is Japan; they can do that, but I mean, you know what I mean. Anyways, so whatever, nothing going on. But at least they weren't teasing it at all, so that's fine. I mean, unless you know you look at the cover of the video, then it's like, okay, maybe it is teasing it a little bit. Anyways, so enjoyment factor 2.5 out of 5. It's just it's. There were parts that I enjoyed, parts that I went, oh yeah, and then there were parts that were just a letdown, and then of course, it's a Tomie movie, so the pacing is pretty slow. It's supposed to be that kind of slow churning type of movie, but compared to what it was coming off of, Rebirth, which was excellent and awesome on so many levels, it was kind of a downer, plus the fact that it just didn't feel like it was that much of a horror movie. I mean, honestly, spoiler alert, okay? So we're done with spoiler alert, okay? So, anyone who's switched off? Tomie is the only one who technically really dies in this movie. Oh, I mean, I guess at the beginning the guy hung himself, but that was the beginning. Honestly, that's it. You know, no! I mean, it was, I don't know, it seemed rather weak, and keeping up with spoilers, Encased in Ice would have been the perfect ending because it was supposed to be the final Tomie, even though, you know, we've got, you know, parts, you know, can regenerate. Still, Encased in Ice would have been it. Would have been perfect. And the fact that the father and daughter were eating, you know, chips and stuff, saying, hey, we should come back here and look at her sometimes, because this is just, that would have just been the perfect ending, but no, they didn't do this. Enjoyment factor 2.5 out of 5. Overall impression 2.5 out of 5. Mediocre, average movie. Has some of its points, has a lot of flaws, and honestly, a weak installment in this series. I guess better production values than Another Face. I guess a little bit stronger because Another Face's problems were pretty bad, but anyway, still disappointing. And like I said last video, it was all downhill from here because Rebirth was really awesome. So that averages out to be a pretty measly 1.9 out of 5. But come on, you know, the Nudity scores really punish movies that are bad because that 0 really weighs hard. And that's why probably a lot of bad movies have to put nudity in there just to keep the scores up. There you go. So, there it is, my review of Tomie Forbidden Fruit. Forbidden Fruit, of course, is like a sort of, I can't even speak anymore. It's another way of saying, it's synonymous with, you know, lesbianism in certain, or gay anyways, in certain talk, in certain colloquial forms. Tasting, you know, it's the love that you stare not speak its name. Something like that. Yeah, anyways, so, I mean, I think that was the whole point of the thing. It was like, and of course, pomegranate, I guess, is a forbidden fruit, and it was supposed to taste like human blood or something. You know, anyways, I've gotten off track. So, here's my awesome reviews. A review of Tomie Rebirth, the awesomest of all the Tomies so far, and probably is going to stand up as the awesomest Tomie. And this one is going to be, if I can manage to find it, going to be the next one, which I think is actually Tomie the Beginning, which is a prequel to the first Tomie. I think that's what it is. It's either that or it's Revenge, but I think it's Beginning. Or it could be Revenge. I don't think it's Tomie versus Tomie, but anyways, so I think it's whatever it is, it's going to be right here. So that being said, you probably noticed that my eyes are messing with me because I'm pretty tired. It's been a rough week so far, but I'm just gonna, you know, rejuvenate myself and my body and regenerate and be back to haunt you some more next time. Till then, you stay scary, internet. Booyah.